In general, I would say for all the startups in the world, the first journey is always going to be figuring out product market fit. And by product market fit, what I really mean is creating value to your customers or to your users, right? If you don't create value, then there is no reason for your existence. In reality, if you don't figure out product market fit, you will die. As simple as that. If you do, then two things is going to happen. Number one, you're probably going to be successful because you figure out a way to create value. And if you figure out a way to create value, then the rest will follow. The second one, and this is really important, is at the end of the day, if you figure out product market fit, you actually bought yourself a ticket to the next part of the journey. So now you can go into figuring out business model or figuring out growth. And again, each one of them is going to be a journey of failures. The biggest enemy of good enough is perfect. The reality is that those that are going to win the market are going to be those that are good enough. Because imagine that we have two twin sisters companies, right? And they are building exactly the same product. And they are making similar progress until a certain point of time that one of them is saying, you know what, I'm going to go to the market with what I have. And the other one is saying, you know what, it's embarrassing to go to the market with the product that we have. We're going to wait. We're going to polish it again and again and finish it more and more and more until it's ready. What happened at this phase is that the first company is going to learn so much faster because you get the feedbacks of the real users. And only once you get the feedback of the real users, you can actually improve dramatically. Early adopters are about 15%. And these are only the relevant addressable market because after the early majority, there is the late majority, and it's another 1/3. And then the last group is something that I call Neverland, right? They will never use something new. The difference is that early majority afraid of change. They need someone to take them by their hand and show them the way. The late majority, they are afraid of change and they are not going to change unless they are being forced. So just imagine that electric vehicle is a new types of vehicles. It drives differently and most people would say, I don't need that. I really enjoy my American muscle car and I don't need that. But if there will be a regulation that prevents using fossil oil-based vehicles, then they will have to change. A very successful CEO that never went on the press. And one day he decided that he's going to get a very short interview. And the interviewer asked him, so how do you become so successful? And he said, 2 words, right decisions. And so the interviewer asked him, and how do you know how to make right decisions? And he said, 1 word, experience. Okay, but how do you gain experience? You say 2 words, wrong decisions. Don't be afraid to make wrong decisions. You have plenty of time to fix them. Don't be afraid to fail. And this is really dramatic. This is really critical in order to become successful. It's a long journey. You will have hundreds of failures, hundreds of things that you were 100% sure that they are going to work a certain way, and they don't. And none of them should discourage you. As long as the problem is still worth solving, go and solve it. The most important part is to get up. So you fell down and then you get up. And the more that you practice that to that extent, the more that you feel confident that the next time that you will fail, you'll be able to get up. The best way, by the way, to do that is the next generation, like your kids. You don't need them to be perfect. You need them to experiment. You need them to come home with a crazy idea, and you should tell them, why don't you give it a try? And if they fail, then nothing happens, right? Because if you're going to punish your kids if they fail, they will be afraid to fail. And therefore, they will not try new things. And therefore, they're not going to become as successful as they could be.